Parkour is a relatively young sport, but in the gaming industry it is represented almost more than all the others. And this is not surprising. Firstly, running with overcoming obstacles looks very spectacular, and secondly, not everyone wants to get bruises and break bones on the street, preferring to drive on the roofs of a virtual character. Actually, for this, secondly, we have collected the best parkour games on PC. A series of one-person action games is entirely dedicated to parkour. The main character of Mirror's Edge, a girl named Faith, is a runner, courier who delivers messages for those who avoid using mobile and internet communications controlled by the totalitarian state. The developers conveyed the feeling of speed and ease of overcoming obstacles as reliably as possible, while implementing fairly simple controls and an exciting gameplay. Any tracer will immediately recognize familiar tricks in the movements of the main character, and a person who is not interested in parkour, after passing Mirror's Edge, may feel the desire to enroll in the nearest sports section. When the streets of the city are filled with crowds of bloodthirsty zombies, the skills of quickly overcoming obstacles become more than useful. The protagonist of the horror action game Dying Light smartly runs on roofs, deftly climbs walls and almost runs over the heads of the walking dead. And if during the daytime in the game you can still walk impressively through the streets, waving off the annoying undead, then at night, when fast and deadly monsters come out to hunt, it's better to rush at full speed to the nearest shelter. A stylish action game with elements of stealth in the setting of World War II tells about the adventures of an Irishman who joined the ranks of the French resistance. The hero conducts sabotage, eliminates enemies, gets important information, and stealth and the ability to climb walls help him in this. The parkour system in SABOTEUR resembles Assassin's Creed. The protagonist grabs the protruding parts of buildings and quickly pulls up. The player just needs to hold down a couple of buttons and watch the process. Saints Row IV is an example of a game in which overcoming obstacles is extremely hyperbolized. The protagonist, who has received supernatural powers, runs on walls, jumps on skyscrapers and even flies through the air. Such advanced abilities will be very useful in opposing aliens. There is a minimum of realism and seriousness in the game, but there is a lot of fun, entertainment and fan. For the Saints Row series, this is the best complement. First-person shooters from the creators of Call of Duty allow you not only to control huge mechs, but also to run up the walls in plenty. The action of the TitanFall series of games takes place in the future, so the fighters here are equipped with jump packs that help to run faster and jump higher. This significantly speeds up the gameplay. Gamers rush like crazy, write incredible somersaults in the air and instantly climb onto the roofs of buildings. Speed and mobility here become the key to survival, so you need to master parkour as quickly as possible. A post-apocalyptic reinterpretation of a classic Chinese novel, telling about the adventures of a guy and a girl who are connected to each other and are forced to act together to achieve a goal. Ruined World is not the most comfortable place to travel, so there is a lot of climbing, jumping, and sometimes falling. However, acrobatics in Enslaved, Odyssey to the West is not complicated and serves only as an accompaniment to an interesting story, so she will not get the laurels of the best parkour game released on PC. In the adventure action games Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, parkour greatly facilitates the passage, allowing you to climb buildings in the blink of an eye, imperceptibly eliminate orc guards and bypass strong bosses. It is designed here to complement, not complicate, the gameplay, so you don't have to memorize keyboard shortcuts for climbing walls. Everything is done by pressing one button. That does not diminish the pleasure of conquering some seemingly inaccessible peak. A trilogy of stealth action games about a goblin thief who sneaks into the most impregnable fortresses and steals various valuables from there. To achieve the goal, the hero has to rely on dexterity and agility. It is much easier to climb onto the roof, find a hidden passage and sneak past the guards unnoticed than to go ahead and get hit by enemies. In addition, in secluded corners, the probability of finding carefully hidden treasures is higher. Local acrobatics, however, does not require any skills from the players. Styx climbs the walls automatically, and we only need to set the direction of movement. The main characters of the Watch Dogs series are trained in parkour techniques, which often helps them out in their professional activities. Hackers just need to be agile and fast to get into a hard-to-reach place or hide from law enforcement officers. Of course, overcoming obstacles is not the basis of gameplay here, but if you want, you can leave the tasks and enjoy running on the roofs of gloomy Chicago, sunny San Francisco or rainy London. A bright action game with an open world in which you have to survive in a locally arisen apocalypse. However, survive is too serious a word for this game, because it is saturated with humor, enthusiasm and madness. In the role of the main character, You will slide along wires and jump on roofs, invent new types of weapons, as well as fight with creepy monsters, victims of an unsuccessful batch of local energy drink. Slasher in a cyberpunk setting, with platformer and parkour elements. Controlling a futuristic ninja, players will overcome the floors of the tower, improve skills and fight enemies to get to the top and defeat the tyrant. Here movement is one of the basics of the gameplay. In the game you need to run and jump a lot, climb walls and slide on inclined surfaces. Ghostrunner feels like Mirror's Edge with battles, and the combination of these gameplay elements provides the player with a powerful adrenaline boost. In search of his uncle, the main character of a story about my uncle got into an incredible world, completely unlike ours. Here he will meet amazing creatures, uncover many secrets, and also move around multi-level locations using a power hook and enjoying amazing landscapes. This is a good platformer with puzzle elements, and it will surely surprise you with a combination of charming visual style and addictive gameplay. Naraka. Bladepoint is not just a battle royale, but a battle royale with parkour. Although the movement system here is much wider than modern parkour, because characters can climb and run along walls, jump long distances, and also use various gadgets like a cat hook. Combining Chinese mythology and various types of martial arts, the game has become one of the most unusual and exciting representatives of the genre. Spider-Man can not only fly on the web. Thanks to his flexibility and dexterity, the superhero does incredible somersaults even when running with obstacles. Just try to run around New York without using web shooters, and you will be surprised at the ease with which the spider bypasses and jumps over any objects in its path. However, this is only a small part of what is in the game: flights over the city, dynamic fights and amazing plot twists. Severed Steel is an ultra-dynamic first-person shooter in which you will run, jump and slide, trying to survive under a hail of bullets and destroy your opponents. Using a variety of firearms, elements of parkour and time dilation, you will be able to find the formula for success in battles with an army of mercenaries. This is one of the best shooters of 2021, and if you haven't played it yet, try to fill this gap. Neon White is an extremely dynamic and very complex first-person action platformer dedicated to the adventures of an assassin who is fighting for the right to get a place in paradise. Jumps and shootouts dilute the elements of KKI, and the witty plot of the game is imprinted in the memory for a long time. And special attention should be paid to the soundtrack, which you want to listen to even in isolation from the game.